Hello, good morning, good afternoon, good evening, everybody. Welcome to Town Hall number 36. It's the 17th of September, and I have some more updates coming to everyone. I'm joined by Fence Maker, and Mark has been traveling. He's not able to join us this time. The guys covered for me last time. I think it's so I'll be handling basically these what Mark usually covers from marketing community side. Let me just get the link around, and we'll give people a chance to join and then start our updates. Here we go. Hi, Tomo. Hi, Osberg. Hi, Craig. Hi, Rossi. Hi, Troy. Good morning. Good to see you around, Troy. I hope you're feeling better. So we'll just give people a minute or two. It feels oddly quiet. I guess it's usually like this for some reason. I hope you get better soon, Troy. Travels were good, Tomo. I was in Singapore actually. I had some company business as well as some other things, but it's okay. It's a shame we missed the big blockchain event that actually happened this past week. Yeah, this is a sky view of Yara Gardens from one of the angles from across, right next to the grandstand, actually. Yeah, there's a Las Vegas convention. It's a shame we can't make this one. I was actually hoping I could attend, but the schedule actually clashes with some other things that I need to attend as well. But there's a big blockchain event that also happens in Singapore. There's also a Dubai event actually happening this weekend, if I'm not mistaken. That's where the Discover Cardano booth will have us featured as one of many joining projects. Okay, we are 5 minutes in. I think this is a good time to start. So we'll go through our usual flow. We're going to go through art, development, marketing, and then we'll take the AMA questions, the ones recorded from Discord, as well as any live questions we get during the town hall. From the art side, I'm going to start with environment and game assets. Our technical artist, I think we might have mentioned a few town halls ago. We have a technical artist, a new technical artist actually on board, and has been working through the Yara Gardens scene. identified a few opportunities to optimize more both on the performance side and the size of assets. Our procedural animation pipeline, which I may have mentioned also in the past, that's meant for jockeys for now. It's being used to generate all the rider animations. So we have rider animations for basically idle horses, which are the usual animations we know for the horse while it's idle in the stable, the same ones that you see there. But then if there's a rider while they're idle, there's also matching, let's say, animations. There's the walk, the trot, the canter, the gallop, and the fast gallop. So all of these, we built a more procedural, let's say, pipeline where at least it mounts the jockeys in the same way. There's a bit of manual process still, but we're also working on fine-tuning that. But for now, we actually expect by the end of this week, I'd say the next upcoming week, to get all 10 mainline jockeys, at least with all of those animations cleaned up and perfected. We have the new draft of crowds using the new pipeline that I think was mentioned the last town hall or the one before. So we now have a draft output. So I have crowds already rendered with the scene. We made some customized characters for that, and a few of them need fixing. They don't really look good. I think the shadows make them look very odd. But the majority is good, actually. I would say maybe 80% of the characters or the video looks actually pretty good. And yeah, I guess more importantly, there's two important UI overlays for the racing scene that have been produced. We actually have them in a form that now is ready to be, let's say, built into the code or into the development side of that scene. One is for horse introductions or intros before the race starts, which is now built on a concept of horses walking with the camera tracking them and then with the details of the horse showing at the bottom. So that UI, as in all the overlays for that. And then the bigger one is the main racing overlay, which shows the main map, or let's say the main, let's say, progress of the horses in the race, the name of the race, and the participants and their order in a live kind of dynamic field. So that is already with us as a graphic that I think is good to be, let's say, implemented. So that's on the art side. And Nick, on development, please.
Yeah. So on development, we have our full-time dev just doing fixes and everything, and our blockchain devs finalizing what we need for racing. So we're getting very, very close to having the whole data structure done to talk to the contract and being able to actually submit. It's not about submitting horses into the race contract. That's been done. What we're doing right now is the whole scheduling part of racing, which is creating a template of all the races that you want and have those mapped out into the calendar and announce them on the blockchain automatically and get ready, to have people registering, and also those like free races, things that have money that has to be inserted by equine into the prize pool. So automating all of that. So this is the scheduling part is the final thing we're doing to get the races on the road. So there was a bit of final details being put down and making sure everything works, and implementation for the calendar and the scheduling. So that's really the last thing that needs to be done for races to be ready on the dev side. We finished all the fixes from the smart contract audit. So everything that was found, mainly little things that went stale after a few months of dev that we changed in the final stages, but have not been come back to and like tweaked, were fixed. So now the smart contract is done. So basically very, very close to having the dev side ready. So it will be mainly the 3D side that needs to be finished so that racing can be shown to you guys.
Yeah, it does look, I would say, though, I mean, even what we have now as the racing scene, despite its lack of, let's say, polish or completedness, I would still say it's pretty, at least to me, it's great to see the sequence all happening through, showing the horse names or references, and then
for
showing
sure, yeah.
the actual race itself. The camera system that we're explaining all the updates over the past few weeks. So the camera system, let's say, implementation is already like easy to view and track and adjust as needed. So that's there. I think the main part that we need to do is for the 3D scene is to fix the horse animations, to make sure that we've implemented the saddle cloth, let's say, numbering, so that it's dynamic with what's actually assigned at the gate. There's things like polishing the camera angle still a little bit for the intro. The whole outro needs a little bit, like not a little bit actually, needs some design in terms of the scene, as in where the horses will be and what kind of goes on there. UI as well, we're ready to also start making that. So that's still actually pending there. And and a bit of eye candy, I'd say, that should be added on top, but that's really after, like particle effects and all that fancy stuff. So that's kind of where we are, as in we have races that on the 3D side, we have races that you can feed data of a race and they will show you a full race, which means loading horses into the gates and then them launching from the gates and doing the whole sequence all in the engine. So that's that. It's just lacking some of the, let's say, necessary elements, such as, well, number one, the horses actually having, like, the horses we have now are just bare horses. They have the right colors, but they don't have the accessories on them, even though we've already made that. It's just not built into that scene yet. And no jockeys at the moment in that version, in the draft version. So we want to like put this all together in the right way. It's also why we're hesitant to share that yet, right? We want to first have the jockeys with the horses, with the accessories, with the jockeys riding them. At least that makes it look much better, right? So yeah, that's on the dev side. Marketing, there was this there's an iSpace actually, also myself and Fensmaker had joined with the Cardano Gaming Guild. If you haven't had a chance, I think that was a nice recap kind of what we have and what we're doing. Congrats to Low Budget Kennels on winning a horse there. And we were happy to welcome him into our community. The invitational event registrations have been closed. We appreciate everyone's joining that. I believe it's going to be next weekend, if I'm not mistaken. Oh, it's on the 24th. So it was really nice, I'd say, seeing all these entries on Twitter. I can't get myself to call it X. It was really nice, though, to see all of these. I can't wait for the actual horse names, stable names, and all that to be shown on the page itself after people activate their horses. But it's already looking great. I think people sharing the horses just shows a little bit more of the, let's say, human aspect or the player aspect of the game, instead of the stables being in isolation, let's say. There is a ghost bullet point here which says nothing. Crypto Expo Dubai. There's this Discover Cardano booth. If everyone happens to be in Dubai on the 20th or 21st September, there will be some giveaways at the Discover Cardano booth. I believe they have a nice, there's a bit of a, let's say, there's a physical booth, but there's also a digital showcase where there's going to be like tablets where people can go through and, let's say, explore some of these different Cardano projects. So we're going to be also mentioned there. We appreciate the Discover Cardano team on giving us a chance to also be present. And yeah, we go to the AMA. Let me make sure I don't miss anything. Right, so there's a question here saying, in the Fensmaker example on entering horse in a race but cancelling registration, before the gates are announced, will there be a percentage of registration fee lost? Or does that only happen if you scratch the horse after the field is announced? So the original design, I will say that actually cancelling earlier would incur only a smaller or partial, let's say, fee. But in the current implementation, it's not the case. In the current implementation, which we'll probably launch V1 also with, it's actually the same. It's just that you can scratch your horse immediately after registration, but it will still have the same fee as if you are scratching after gates are announced. We didn't want it so that there is no way out, right? We would have preferred to have two different, let's say, cancellation fees. But at the moment, I would say doing that change and rolling back would probably be, let's say, a bit of an intensive, let's say, exercise, which we kind of don't need at this stage because we want to release, right? So what we're settling with now is that cancellation at any point after registration will incur the same scratching fee. And in the future, we may revisit this to be closer to what was intended. Are we able to create an extension similar to Axie Infinity where we can see the horse's abilities instead of having to click into each horse? I think there was a bit of detail actually, because the question by itself. Oh no, I'm not sure what context here we're talking about on seeing the horse's abilities. Nick, do you have any thoughts on this?
If that means the stats, then I guess there's two answers to this. We're gonna give away to just go into the application and see your horse, but I guess that's not what you want. So if we get SIP86 accepted by, let's say, Pool.pm, the wallets, and then JPEG Store and everybody, then you could just go see your horse's statistics directly in Pool.pm. I don't know if that's better for you. I don't know what you mean by an extension similar to Axie Infinity. I don't know Axie Infinity enough to know that. Is that a browser extension?
Probably. And maybe the intention here is something like on JPEG Store or somewhere, where you can just hover over the horses and see those stats, for example. I mean, if it's in that context, I'd imagine I can understand why an extra click would be annoying if you're just browsing the market, right? I mean, you can still filter or search, but maybe that's what's intended. I think if we know exactly what's asked about here or the context, would be easier to see. But the fact that it's on the blockchain and in a format that's relatively standard to NFTs, I would say in general, there's nothing against having a way to read that or show that. I don't see it. I think it's possible in general, technically, right, Nick?
Yeah, and longer answer is clearly we're going to have to do some lobbying to get SIP86 accepted into those platforms, so that as to simplify and unify the uniform, the experience of everybody that would like to see the live metadata of the horses. And then SIP86 has also been looked into by other people. So for everybody that ever uses it for their projects or their game, it would be a good thing for the environment to support it.
Absolutely. So this next question, what are the system requirements for the Equine app to function optimally? So considering we're building it for a browser, right now having at least a basic, I would say, no, I think even the issue we had, Nick, earlier with needing a 3D card was only for the dev environment, right? So it's supposed to function even without, let's say, a 3D
But
card, if I'm not mistaken.
You need WebGL to work. So there's a basic website. I think it's just called WebGL. Let me find it. Get.webgl.org. If you go there and you can see a cube in 3D rotating on itself, normally that would mean you're fine. Basically, the moment WebGL works, that can work without a GPU. But yeah, you need a slightly modern computer and a browser, so that's not too hard.
Yeah, that's for the 3D scene. And I guess the way it stands now for the web app, you absolutely need a landscape screen, not a portrait one, which is a bit of an annoying limitation because it won't let you see stuff unless it's in portrait mode. But
I'm still planning on removing that as early as I can, but that's not a high priority right now.
Absolutely. But yeah, it's meant to be accessible. The actual exact specs, I'd say I'd love to do some testing later on when we've finished the optimization and we have something that's actually like for public consumption, that we actually then go and do a little bit of benchmarking and figure out what's the minimum that we can recommend. But it's not meant to be hefty. It's not meant to be like the whole direction we went was not for it to be demanding. That's the last question. But let me see if we have any other AMA questions. Let me just check Discord really quick. Anybody who's watching, feel free to drop us a question here in chat. And there's a noisy phone over here as well. Apologies for that. Okay, there's a bit of. It seems like there's no more questions. I don't see any in chat, so I assume no more questions. So yeah, we appreciate everyone's attendance. We hope to get you guys more exciting updates as we go forward. I think we're still in the same state of looking at that finish line. Keeps inching away step by step while we go forward, but I think it's not yet in a. I'd say we're still keeping that momentum of progress. So I'm looking forward to having more to share on the testnet races, hopefully soon. And yeah, we'll keep you posted as usual on the progress of the project. So once again, thanks to all those who come and tune in. Next town hall in 2 weeks, invitational next weekend. So we look forward to seeing you guys there. And as always, we appreciate your interest and support.
Yeah, thank you everyone, and thanks Troy. But it was also MLabs, right? It was we worked together with MLabs to do SIP 86, so it's a team effort.
I think everyone will appreciate it much more when they start to see it in action.
Yep.
All right. See you all. Bye bye.